Good morning, Princy Haridi. Let's start the class. Your
Good
friends will
morning,
come.
sir.
Good morning, Ma. Let me start the class. Today, I'm going to take the revision for Unit 1. Already, we have taken 8 classes. This is class 7. Uh, in order to revise what are the topics discussed so far in Unit 1, it will help you to study well. As far as syllabus is concerned, these are the topics have been included. There are 6 concepts. One is themes of economics. In that, scarcity and efficiency. Then 3 fundamental economic problems. Then society's capability. Then production possibility frontier. Finally, production efficiency and economic efficiency. This is the portion in Unit 1. As we know, the themes of economics is basically two things. One is scarcity and efficiency. Why these two gain its importance? Because our wants are unlimited, but the resources are very limited. So the difference between these two is called scarcity. So you can expect a section A question, what are the twin themes of economics? What are the twin themes? Scarcity and efficiency are the two themes of economics. How you define scarcity? It is a difference between the human wants and the available resources. This is a way we can define. The goods and services are limited and human wants are unlimited. Therefore, the gap between these two are called scarcity. Then the other theme, how we can define, in order to augment the gap between the resources and the human wants, we have to utilize the resources efficiently. So we are using the second theme as efficiency. How we can define? There are different ways to define efficiency. In our class, now I'm giving a simplest definition in a 3 different way. One is producing the goods efficiently with a minimum cost and maximum revenue. Any business firm want to earn more profit in the same way they will minimize the cost. Then the other way, how we can make best use of the resources. This is called efficiency. The final one is how we can increase the welfare of the individual without making someone else worse. That is called efficiency. Suppose when you are helping somebody, you should not take from somebody else and you have to give. We have to create our own. By increasing the welfare of one, we should not deprive the other. So these are some of the ways to define the efficiency. So what are the twin themes? One is scarcity, the other one is efficiency. So this is a diagram that I have given. Suppose if they are asked in section B question, first you define what is scarcity is, and then you draw this particular diagram. It is a gap between the limited resources and unlimited wants. Based on this scarcity only, the economic problems are formulated. How this economic problem should be solved? The society have 3 different options. One is how to improve economic growth. The second one is with the available resources, how can we improve the output? Finally, it is easy to achieve the efficiency by reducing the expectation. More you expect, the probability of getting failure is more. So when we restrict our wants, definitely the efficiency will come automatically. So suppose if they ask in section B, then you have to define what is scarcity is, and then uh, this particular diagram that you have to draw. So there are different ways to express how we can relate the choice and scarcity. The resources of satisfying hormones are definitely, it is limited only. Suppose if we earn 20,000 rupees, we may 30,000 rupees because our want is 30,000 rupees, but income is 20. Even if we reach 30, definitely they will expect 40 and 30 will be considered as limited because our expectation is keep on growing. Collectively, we want more than what we produce with our limited resources. Why? Because suppose he is having 10 rupees, mean when he purchase any product, definitely the satisfaction or the benefit out of that particular product should be more than 10 rupees. Why? Because he is the ration. The economists will help to determine the use of scarce resources to satisfy the most important one. That's what the economy tried to do. Because of the resources are desirable and scarce, we must take a choice of using these resources. So what we understand from macroeconomics, economics is a study of choice. So one more question, what we can expect, what are the fundamental problems of economics? As we know, there are three fundamental problems: what to produce in what quantity, how to produce, and for whom to produce. It's a definite question from from unit one. Why? Because based on this only we have built the macroeconomics. After this particular thing, we will discuss one by one. Whatever the type of economy, there are three type of economy. One is capital economy, social economy, and mixed economy. United States of America is considered to be a capitalist economy because the private is dominant. In case of USSR, it is social economy. The government will take everything like communism. But developing country like India, we are having both private as well as public. We used to call it as mixed economy. Whichever type of economy, maybe capital, maybe socialist or mixed economy, the problem are the same because all three type of economy has to face these fundamental economic problem. How we are tackling depending upon the policy that the government is taking. So before explaining about what are all the things that we have, we should think about the social capability. If the society decides to produce a particular goods in a larger quantity, it has to withdraw the resources from the production of the other product. Suppose you keep on saying the resources are plenty, then there is no question to think about the scarcity. But unfortunately, we have limited resources. We should employ that particular resources to a particular product production of consumer goods, and definitely it will reflect in the other production of the product. In other words, the economy has to decide the respective quantity of consumer goods and capital goods to be produced. The choice between the consumer goods and the capital goods involves a choice. Suppose there are some necessary goods of food, shelter, and all these things necessary we have to pay. But cell phone, laptop, TV, all these things are, it is considered to be, it's a comfortable goods. Luxury means the AC, car, all these things. So out of that particular resources, we should decide what are the product that we have to consume. This particular thing, because it's a limiter. Suppose one with a silver spoon, the individual will not think about all these things, whether it is necessary or it is a comfortable or a luxury. Definitely, once it is scarce, then we have to solve the basic three problems: what to produce, how to produce, or whom to produce. The best problem is what to produce. The problem of what to produce is divided into two. What are they? The goods are to be produced or not. The second one is what quantity. There are two criteria. One is what is the good to be produced. Further, at what quantity that we have to produce. If the productive resources are unlimited, we produce many numbers of goods as we like. But unfortunately, very limited one, what good to be produced and what not, is we should have a clarity in that. But because of the resources of scarce relatively, the human wants are unlimited. The economy must choose among a different alternative of collection of goods and services, and it should be produced. So each and every time, once we decided what to produce in what quantity, the next best task is how to produce that particular product. The problem of how to produce means it's a combination of resources to be used for production of a particular product, where what level of the technology that we have to use. Once the society decided to produce a particular goods and services, then in what quantity is not a criteria. How it should be produced, whether it is labor intensive or it should be a capital intensive. So I have given an example with the production of cloth. In that cloth, there are two possible things. One is power loom, another one is hand loom. We can produce labor intensive cloth. It is called hand loom. Suppose we are using power and machines, then it is power loom. How much we invest in that, it depending upon what type of manpower or what type of natural resources that we have, that decides. So let me move to the third one, that is for whom to produce. This question only answer all our macroeconomic problems, because we already decide what to produce and we have going for how to produce, either labor intensive or capital intensive. The next best is to whom we have to produce, whether we are concentrating on poor people or we are concentrating on middle income group or we are concentrating on rich people, or what type of group that we are targeting, that decides for whom to produce. Meaning the national product to be distributed among the members of the society. In easy words, the whom to produce means the things should get done to whom that we have to deliver. Suppose if you produce only cars, then the poor people will not bother about it. It's meant for the rich people. Suppose you are producing food, then the entire economy we have to consider. So depending upon the type of the product, whom to produce will be the C. So there are three problems. One is what to produce. The corollary of what to produce is at what quantity. The second problem is how to produce. And last one is for whom to produce. So in order to get solution for these fundamental problems, we need the tools of macroeconomics. The very first one is, first we should decide what kind of social capability that we should have. For that, we have to analyze further about these three problems. That particular first problem should be divided into three categories. One is what type of commodity in what quantity, how much each many possible goods and services should be economy have to make, whether we have to make indigenously or we have to import, or it should be made or it should be buy. All these things should be decided, and when will they should be produced. So time factor also very important. So the first problem is divided into three categories. Similarly, the second problem also divided into three. How shall we produce that particular good? By whom? And what resources and what technology level should be employed in order to produce that required level of product? Or the goods are produced in hand or by machine, that is called labor intensive or capital intensive. So once again, the problem 2, that is how to produce, is divided into three categories. Who has to produce, in what level of technology and other thing, what type, what method that we are using, that also more important. Finally, for whom to produce. That for whom to produce is divided into whether we are producing vegetables or fruits which are perishable, the lifetime is very less. Whether we are producing capital goods, because it's a durable. So the available resources should be divided in such a way that the economy try to achieve its maximum level of satisfaction. So out of these three problems only, we have decided demand side and supply side. The demand side is human wants, the supply side the resources. That's what we are using the factors of production: land, labor, capital, and organization. What is a land? Is a free gift of nature. We used to call it as natural resources. Similarly, the second factor of production is labor. The labor will provide the physical and mental skill of a production. It is termed as a human resources. Similarly, for capital, we have to aid the requirement of the consumer by using or manufacturing that particular product. It is called capital investment. the source will be called as capital resources. Therefore, there are three types of resources. One is natural resources, human resources, and capital resources. So based on these three, we have to consider the society capability. The government is having two options. One is non-intervention. Otherwise, we have to intervene each and every one. The first one is called laissez-faire economy. The second one is called command economy. In easy term, it is called market economy, means the private and other people will produce a thing, the government will not involve. They'll make a decision at individual level and the government have a minimum intervention. In case of planned economy, it is vice versa. That is, all the economic decisions should be made by the government. It may be local or it may be state or it may be central, but they will decide these are the things to be produced. So there are two possible formulation of societies. One is market economy, second one is planned economy. How to construct this particular society capability? For that, we have 5 elements. One is how we employ these factors of production. For that, we have to take some initiative. So the basic thing is we should utilize these factors of production is the first step in order to improve the society capability. Once we decided to use all these resources, we should make some strategic business decision. Once this initiative and decision, definitely there is a possibility to become an innovator, and some new products and new techniques will come in the scene and the business will get picked up. Finally, we should make some business decision by taking a risk. It may be a priori principle or posteriori principle given by the theory of risk by Alfred Marshall. Higher the risk, higher will be the profit. So how we can construct the society capability based on these 5 elements: initiative, business decision, innovation, new techniques, and try to achieve the targeted profit. So for this particular, after knowing the elements of society capability, now we move to the next level. That is, there are 3 stages. One is production stage, second one is operating stage. Combining these two, what type of economy will come? Any economy is divided into 3 sectors. One is primary, secondary, and tertiary. That is, primary means agriculture sector, secondary means industrial sector, and tertiary is service sector. These are the production sectors. By using this production sector, there are 3 operating sectors. Capitalist economy means all private people will do the business. So it is called private sector. Suppose the government is taking all this in the planned economy, then it is called public sector. The third operating sector is a foreign sector, that is doing international trade. So combining these two productive sector and operating sector, we can able to construct a new society called, it may be capitalism, it may be socialism, it may be mixed economy like India. So based on this only, we have to formulate the society capability. The extension of society capability, we should think about the scarcity. Once the scarcity in the scene, then we have to make some choice in decision. This choice making, it may be of different level. It may be individual level, it may be in a group level, that is family, or it may be in a society level. It may be an institution level, or local, state, or national level. Sometimes it cross the political territory, it is based on the continent or as a globe. International decision may take place because of the choice. Suppose World Health Organization is a decision of the world, not an individual, any particular country or a region. Similarly, how these things are happening? Because of the scarcity, because the sources are very limited. What we think about, there are certain basic things we should satisfy for the human. What are they? Food, shelter, clothing, health product, and transportation. All these things, it is mandatory, otherwise we cannot survive. So for that, we should know the evolution of society capability, how the economy has started, because this particular thing can make a very clear idea about macroeconomics. In worldwide, we have number of economists starting from the evolution of capitalism. They have divided into 5 stages. The father of economy, Adam Smith, he given the economy as a wealth economy. But his disciple Alfred Marshall have said it is not a wealth economy, it is a welfare economy. But both wealth economics and welfare economics is not the right method of framing the society. So Leonard Robinson have brought a new concept called scarcity economy, because this scarcity economy only have improved a lot, whether it is economic development or economic growth or law of equality, all these things coming because of this particular scarcity definition. But now they are not only bothering about the scarcity but also the growth definition, because in 17th century, he who has more money considered to be a best individual, but after that he who is enjoying is considered to be the best individual. Finally, he who is able to manage with the available resources, that is using the concept scarcity, is considered the best individual. Now he is growing or he is developing, he who is improving is considered to be the best individual. So the definition of society is getting keep on changing. So the after this particular stages of economy, now we have seen the evolution of economy. I think this one already I have discussed. We talk about ancient Greece have started the economy as a welfare of the human being, and in 517 BC, Henley have given a golden rule for business. In India, we have a great economist called Chanakya. He wrote Arthasastra. It is considered to be the science of economics, because he gave the rule how to do the business, what is the role of an individual, how the kingdom should be, what is the role of the king, what is the role of the citizen. All these things he just made a principle. It is called Arthasastra, that is called science of economics. This is the starting point for each and every macroeconomics. Later, in 350 BC, Plato have given a new idea, credit theory of money. His disciple Aristotle have divided the economy in 5 different things: monarchy, aristocracy, tyranny, democracy. All these things, these type of economy, society was given by Aristotle. Later in the Middle Age, there are more number of economy from Italy, Scotland, France. Different economists have given different view about the society capability. Finally, our breakthrough has reached because of the Columbus. He made a voyage and reached the same place, and he invented the globe is considered to be a round. Because of his invention only, the mercantilism have started in Asia. He invented Asia, and people are ready to do trade with Asia. Finally, Stewart have given a new concept called principles of political economy. The economy is a term used only 200 years. Before that, it is called political economy, because only kings have ruled all the territory of the globe. So they said it's politics only. But now economy is diverted from politics. So this particular slide will provide more information about the evolution of society capability. Now let's start with the next chapter called production possibility curve, who have given Professor Alfred Marshall. Why he has given? In order to give solution for the first problem, what to produce, what quantity. So for that he considered 2 commodities, and he just ran a particular model, and he have given some solution. This is a production possibility, this is called efficient, this is called inefficient, and how it shift right or how it move lower than that. This particular production possibility curve may be termed as transformation curve or production possibility frontier. There are 5 assumptions I already told. The first one is the economy has the fixed resources. Second one is only 2 products are considered. And third assumption is it is full employment is existing and all the resources are efficiently used. And fourth assumption is when one particular product receives a particular resources, the proportionate decrease in the other product will happen. Finally, the technology remains the same. So these are the 5 assumptions. Based on the 5 assumptions, we are considering 2 products, X and Y. For that, we have a different combination, and it has been plotted in the particular thing. One is horizontal axis represents the wheat, the vertical axis represents the mission. In that line, any product is efficient, less than that is inefficient. In point P is inefficient, and when a technology used, it moves to the right. So this production possibility curve will answer for the first question. It has been supported by a famous Scotland economist Hugison. He said, because of the opportunity cost theory only, the production possibility is correct. What is opportunity cost? The next best alternative. When the marginal opportunity cost is higher, then definitely we'll have a maximum satisfaction out of the production. So for that, we can set at another table by using the difference from previous to next, how much we are increasing. When we plot this particular thing, we can get what is the possibility of production with the given two product with the available resources. When it moves to the right, it is nothing but we are using the technology or new technique to improve the production. And there are many things to be considered while discussing about the society capability, but all are having a base of scarce resources only. That particular thing you can you have to include not only the scarcity but also the efficient utilization of resources and other things which influence the production, mainly the technology. So how you can expect question is a section C question, explain production capability. Then what you have to write, you have to explain the model of production possibility curve. There are 5 subheading. First, you introduce about this particular topic, then list out the assumption, then construct production possibility schedule and draw the diagram and say these are the elements. What are there? Because of the scarce only, we are deciding this, and there should be efficient utilization of resources, and technology improvement definitely will give the required level of satisfaction should be achieved. After that, we complete the scarce. Now let's move to the productive efficiency and economic efficiency. As we know, the economic efficiency have 6 elements, but our syllabus covers only 2. One is productive efficiency, another one is allocative efficiency. Productive efficiency means maximizing the revenue, minimizing the cost. Allocative efficiency, producing the right product in a right way. So definite question you can expect in section B or section A, difference between productive efficiency and allocative efficiency. As you know, it's even a layman can easily define. When you reduce the production cost, there will be efficiency, which is used to call productive efficiency. When we utilize the resources correctly, then it is called allocative efficiency. Similarly, how to maximize efficiency, as I said earlier, it is based on the equilibrium condition. But instead of saying only marginal cost and marginal revenue, we are using a new concept called price. There are 2 conditions, P equal to MC. The selling price should be equal to marginal cost. Similarly, the price should be equal to marginal revenue. Then MC will become equal to MR. The profit will be more and efficiency will be there. With this, let me complete this revision class. As I am having proctor duty by 10 o'clock today, only one session. We will meet in the next week. Meanwhile, I will send this particular PPT in Google Classroom or WhatsApp. go through this. In next Thursday, we will be having a class test. Before that, on or before Tuesday, you have to submit your notebook. Write in the notebook, take a photo and upload in the Google Classroom. Based on that only, first year mark will be awarded. Please be active. You have plenty of time. Don't waste time. You can use your mobile or you can watch TV. All these things I'm not restricting, but spend some time for education also. Am I right? Okay, guys. Thank you. All of you, please type your name, say present in the chat box. Thank you very much.